this time of year and what it really means to us. And Father, I would pray for those that are in faraway places, many in harm's way and risking death daily. Pray, Father, that you'd watch over them, protect them, keep them safe, and be with their families. And for those that suffered tremendously through this storm, this recent storm, Father, I pray for them that soon they'll get their lights and get their heat and all the things that make life worth living back on. Go with us now, watch over us, Father, help us make good decisions, and forgive us where we fail you. I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
You see? Roll call, please.
Curtis Snell,
Here.
Chris Stokes, Bill Anglin,
Here.
Bill John Baker,
Here.
Jack Baker,
Here.
Harley Buzzard,
Here.
Julia Coates,
Here.
Bradley Cobb, Joe Crittenden,
Here.
Jody Fishinghawk, here. Meredith Fraley, here. Janelle Fulbright, here. Sean Garvin,
Honey.
Chad Coskin Jr.,
Here.
China Glory Jordan,
Present.
David Thornton, Kara Cowan Watts,
Honey.
John Masters.
Go.
We have a quorum.
Reform.
Yes, sir.
I have to approve the minutes of the November 13th, November 29th, and November the 29th reconvened session.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Natural Resources, Angela Druids.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, committee members. In addition to our normal conservation practices that we do in natural resources, I'm going to report to you on our accomplishments, some of our new initiatives, and some things that we've accomplished in the month of November. We have been working on 4 Gadoogie projects. We recently completed one of those. I don't know how many of you here golf up at the golf course at the Sequoia campus, but Natural Resources did a lands cleanup project up there, and we went in and did a lot of clearing on some old scrub timber and did a lot of cleanup to make it a more park-like setting there by where your clubhouse is and back east. So you might notice that there's been some cleanup on that site. We've been assisting community services. We'll be doing the site pad prep for the Muldrow Community Building, doing some additional land clearing at the Rocky Ford Community Building. I believe that community group is trying to get themselves active again and start utilizing their community building, so we're doing some additional cleanup efforts there with them. We're also going to be assisting community services with some additional cleanup at the gym at Cherokee where they build the SIPS panels. There's some need of clearing so that that site is a little more visible from the highway, which will help reduce some of the vandalism that they have going on at that site. So we're working on those things. Natural Resources recently made a proposal to our group leader regarding the possibility of programs taking on garden plots. I've spoken to you a couple of times previously about having a seed bank. We have been able to get some native seeds that we have a few of, but that we need to grow that stock. So we made some proposals about some ways that we could get that seed bank stocked, and that would be, we proposed some programs that it would be logical for their locations and the type of program that they have to actually grow a species or a variety of a certain plant, that needs to be grown away from other things to keep from the cross pollination and things. So that may be something that you hear more about. And I even put a proposal on there that the council may want to have their own garden out here out back of this building. So that'll be coming down the pipe. So you may hear some things about that in the future. Don't know how many of you know, but Woody Wilson, longtime employee of the Cherokee Nation, retired the last day of November. So we did have a couple of council members that attended his retirement. He didn't want to have anything big and fancy, so we tried to keep it small for him. Just wanted to let you guys know that Trent Holland, who has worked for the tribe for 12 years, has been assigned to the Bull Hollow shop. So if any of you have questions about anything going on up there and need to contact Trent, he can be reached at 822-2830. And Butch Garner is now down at Delaney shop. So anybody that needs to contact him in regard to anything that's going on with tribal lands in Adair County, he and Trent are actually splitting doing the lease compliance now. So if any of your constituents call you and have any questions with anything going on with land leasing for the Delaware County tracts, they'll need to contact Trent. And anything to do with Adair, Sequoia, or Cherokee County lands, they can contact Butch. And Butch's contact number is 822-2906. Effective January 1, John Osage is going to be the docent at the Saline Courthouse. He is a member of the Saline Preservation Association, and he's also a local resident there at Rose. John did not want to live in the trailer house that sits back behind the courthouse. He just lives right down the road, and we thought that would be a much better situation so that we could, until we get further along with that site development plan, we could use that trailer as an office and a place where folks that are visiting, if someone does need to utilize a restroom facility, there will be a restroom that they can use. Because when we had someone living in that trailer that was their local resident, it was a little bit strange having people to come in and use the restroom. So we'll actually be converting that into an office and have a public restroom facility there. Some of the things that John will be doing there is greeting the public, providing them with historical information, handouts. If there's tree limbs that need to be piled until the Natural Resources crew gets over there to do their regular routine, he'll just be doing light grounds maintenance type work as well. And we can provide you with the telephone number to that site too if you were to need that. I wanted to report one acquisition to you. We did purchase 40 acres in Adair County known as the Drain property. It's a very significant piece of property to us because it has a cave on it that has the largest population of the Ozark big-eared bat on it, and we have been speaking with the Fish and Wildlife Service, and we will be bringing a resolution to you for your consideration, but we have been talking with them about entering into a conservation easement with us on that property, which they would pay us for the conservation easement, but we would write into the easement that our citizens still have the right to gather and hunt and fish. It would just protect the resource that's there. And that wraps up my report, unless you have
Any questions of Jody?
I got a question because I know I communicated with Linda Donaldson about this before. Here 2 or 3 weeks ago, me and Charlie Soap had gone down to Sally Bull Hollow. A lot of Sally Bull is still restricted interest.
Right.
Okay, Nancy Sawney's husband, Franklin Sawney, is the original, is the one I'm wanting to say. There'd been a lot of logging on her property, and she was getting like $100 a truckload for these logs, and a lot of them was walnuts. And it really upset Charlie and I. But what have we done about that? Because she's not understanding at all what's going on from there, taking advantage of it.
Staff went out today to do the inspection on the trespass, so it will be written up and an action will be taken on the trespass.
Okay, well, you go on to the Attorney General now, or what? I'm curious.
I'm going to Solicitor's office.
It'll go to the solicitor's office for Linda.
That's what I want to ask about, if y'all could kind of brief me on that and send us, me and Joe, any copies of something that comes up, because that concerned me a lot.
We're waiting on a forester's report. One is supposed to be coming in. I expected it last week, but it didn't come in, so we're looking at the forester's report on what he felt like, the amount of trees that were taken according to the stumpage, and what he thought would have been the valuation of a lot of that. So we're waiting on that report so that we can get that together for the solicitor's report.
Can you make sure
copy
and
of
send
that.
one to Charlie, because he wanted me to stay on top of it too.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Councilman Thornton?
I just had one question on the Saline Courthouse.
Yes, sir.
On the additional office and restrooms, do we have to follow the American Disabilities Act on
That specific location has a ramp that will be handicap accessible. I would say that we will have to follow that, and in this particular instance, that location already,
restrooms?
it has a ramp. Now, the restroom, I don't know that you could get a wheelchair down the hallway. I don't know that. We may have to do some modifications.
We might run into a problem if the right people find
Right.
out that.
We'll look
Thank
into
you.
it.
Councilman
Thank
Rucker?
Yes, Angie, you may not, would you get me, I need a list of all of our tribal houses, and if so, maybe a report on the conditions of them. You may already have that.
Okay. I believe Ford Linda does the
Okay.
leasing of those. Do you have that type of report already?
Yeah, I can get that to you.
Yeah, and even those are not leased out, it's like no.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure.
Could I, can I have that for
Yes.
Cherokee County too?
Sure.
Councilman Thornton?
No,
No.
she take care of it.
Any more questions? That would be all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Real Estate Services, Lyndon Dawson.
Good afternoon. Let me finish my note from Joe so I don't forget what he's asking here. Okay. My report was not in your packet, so that's why you had one that I've handed out so that you would have that. I don't know if anybody else needed one, but I hope I got everyone. And we wanted to report our accomplishments. We did submit 2 additional hunting leases this month. I believe we had 7 last month. We received 1 housing lease approved by the BIA. We investigated 4 trespasses last month, and 3 of those reports went to the solicitor on different types of little problems. And we also received about 767 phone calls. We had 80 people come in visit with us in November. We completed 38 site inspections. We worked on 15 inventories. We had 7 home visits, 7 jurisdictional calls, 19 quiet titles, 2 will interviews, and we did 1 full-blood will before the judge. And some of the other little highlights here that's been going on is that we have worked with, we have visited with the BIA about our fee to trust situation. We have the Park Hill 45 acres that we've been working on for the last 11 years. Catoosa 7 acres, that's been going on probably since 2000. Roland 3.5 acres. Complex tracks 1 and 2. The Patton tract, which is over here that we want to put a casino on. And the Ross Road 255 acres. These are all fee to trust projects that are right now in the hands of the BIA. And I talked with the BIA people last week, and they said every one of those was being reviewed for environmental, either the environmental beginning one or the updates. And as soon as those environmental reviews were done, they'd be able to go upstairs to Miss Hannah to see if she will sign off on some of this. So they're saying we're closer, and that's what we're looking at. But they've been telling me this for a while, but I'm hoping that some of it will be true this time. Because I understand that the Washington office has given a directive to a lot of their regional directives to get these things off their desk and get them done. So hopefully we'll get some of ours done because of the directive, if nothing else. So we're looking at, maybe we'll be celebrating at the beginning of the year if something comes through. And let's see. Talked to Buell about the Ramona Casino site. We got our appraisal in Friday, so we're just looking to get our lease terms finalized and our environmental document. And once we have that, we should be able to submit that package to the BIA. One thing about it is a casino lease, which means it will have to go to Washington, D.C. for approval. And once it's approved there, and they direct the regional director to sign off on it, then we'll be in business for that site. So hopefully that's going to go faster. Mr. Hoskins, you asked about the Washington property before. That one, we've got one small issue with it, and we'll be ready to start a judicial determination of death on that. And once we have those heirs determined, we'll be able to start a trust probate to get that money dispersed to the people. So we're coming down closer on that one. And I think you had another issue too that we will be addressing as well. Okay. Okay, and that's basically my report. Do you have any questions?
Jody?
Could you add Lucy Flynn's to that name along with Sonny down there at Gill? She is another one that got logged on.
Lucy
Flynn.
Flynn. Okay.
Okay, and the second question is, this will have to do with it too, to our trip down there. One of the people we went and talked to had an acre of land. They lost it to a mortgage company about a year ago. Well, since the people's moved back into the house, they was going to do some rehab on the house. What we're running into is the fact that it's surrounded by restricted land. What I got told was, even though it's surrounded and there's no access to it, state law in Oklahoma requires you to have to give an access to something that's landlocked. My reply is, does that apply to restricted land? I know that's an Oklahoma law. They're talking about easements and restrictions when restricted land is surrounding us.
They can't get an easement across it because the restricted land was, through the 47 Act, was bound to state jurisdiction over those.
Okay.
That's the only problem. We got hooked up with that on the 47 Act.
That's what I was wondering, whatever we decided on.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilman Hoskins, did you have?
Yeah, with respect to the Washington case, do you know the approximate time frame
Well, I'm hoping that we could get something filed this month
on the
on the determination. Right. And it'll be a little bit longer. That runs about a 41-day notice in the paper, so it'd take about 2 months for that alone.
Very good, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any more questions? Thank you, Linda.
Okay, thank you.
Roads and Transportation, Michael Lynn.
Good afternoon. Just hit some highlights for this month that we've had. We've hired 2 new staff members, a roads materials lab technician and a new roads construction inspector added to our team. Some of the accomplishments that we've done this month are we've completed the Fairview Uchee Phase 2 project in Delaware County. That project was finalized out on, or we held the final inspection on November 30th. There was a few minor punch list items that were outstanding, some signs and stuff like that. I talked to the contractor this week, late last week. They were trying to get up there and get the signs installed, but the rain has held them off from that. Hopefully, now that it's a little dry, they may have gotten up there today. I don't know that for sure, but there were just some minor sign issues to get that project completely finalized out. Red Barn Road here in Cherokee County, installing some storm underdrain and bringing the subgrade up to plan elevations. That's been a long, ongoing project, but it's making its way through there slowly. Daytown Dry Creek project up in Delaware County. The contractor did begin paving the first phase of that project last week. They are continuing to construct concrete drainage boxes and excavating slopes, doing some blasting around rock up in there, working on the subgrade and installing fences and side drains and cross drains. And Barber Road here in Cherokee County, the hydraulics for the design and earthwork have been completed. Now they're working on the cross sections and the plan and profile sheets for the design plans. We are holding a community meeting on that project tomorrow night, 6:30, at a church on the project. It's Sycamore Tree Baptist Church, I believe. Be tomorrow night again at 6:30. We're also continuing to work on our transit plan and developing initiatives on that. I did attend a transit meeting on December 5th down in Norman a couple weeks ago. Got a lot of good information from that. Talked to some other Oklahoma tribes that have also applied for and received federal transit dollars, and they're running into a lot of the same hurdles that we're running into as far as dealing with FTA. Lastly, I want to mention too, on Cedar Crest in Mays County, we did receive an appraisal back today, as a matter of fact, from from the landowner, or from the landowner's property on the bridge area that we're needing to acquire prior to the construction of the bridge. That makes the third appraisal. Without going into a lot of detail, they were as different as night and day. Big differences between all three. We first acquired one of them on our own. The landowner and the county commissioner didn't. The landowner didn't agree with the first one. The landowner and county commissioner agreed to split the cost of a second appraisal. That was more than twice what our first appraisal was. I didn't agree with that, so we did go out and get a third opinion on the two that we had already received, and it was less than any of the previous two. So I don't know really what we're going to do. I'm going to have somebody from ODOT right-of-way division and appraiser division take a look at the appraisers and kind of try to tell me why there's such a big difference. But other than that, I wanted to report that we did get that in today. I don't know that the landowner's going to be happy with the third appraisal, but anyway, we are still continuing to work on that project. Don't have any tribal funded projects for this month coming for approval, so winter time and been a little slow in that area. That's all I had to report today.
Councilman Rogers.
How about Rice Woodard, Jarvis Road, where's that one?
It is out for condemnation. We had to condemn one property owner out on that project. It's been filed. I think the word I got the other day was actually last week or 2 weeks ago we met with Nason Morton of our Law and Justice Office, and he was going to try to get something moving on it. But they were waiting to appoint the commissioners to appraise that property. So.
Same with Honey Hill.
Same with Honey Hill, yes. Now, it's my understanding on Honey Hill that the commissioners have been appointed on that project. It's just a matter now of them getting back with the judge and delivering their findings.
Yeah, thank you.
So it's a little bit farther ahead than Rice Woodard, but not a whole lot.
Any more questions for Michael? David?
It isn't a question, it's kind of a request, but I see you have hired 2 new people up here.
Yes, sir.
And I was thinking maybe you would consider opening a position for Tommy somewhere. Maybe get around Sequoia County.
That's a constituent of Mr. Thornton over in Sequoia County. He comes to visit us quite often.
Any more questions? Thank you, Michael.
Yes, thank you all.
Construction and facilities report, Todd Enlow.
Since the last time we spoke, good afternoon. Since the last time we spoke, we have moved the housing rehab to their new office space just on the west side of the casino. I think in the last time we were in the process of moving vocational rehabilitation from the back side of the motel to an area adjacent to the Veterans Office Affairs, and that work has been completed. When they moved out, the tax commission slid over, allowing them some more space, and so they've been able to spread out. Tax commission actually had 6 people in one office, and so they were pretty well stacked on one another, so we gave them some more room. Tomorrow we have some electrical repairs scheduled at the motel to correct some 20-year-old problems that we've got, and we will have to close down the tax commission about 1 o'clock for us to complete the repairs to be ready by tomorrow. We've also completed a landscape branding plan. Be happy to share that with you. What we've done is identified plants and materials that were relevant to Cherokee uses for cultural being medicinal, sustenance, craft work, including basketry, and we've also looked at the plants that were also aesthetically are pretty to look at as well. So we've identified that, and we're going to incorporate that in all of our facilities so that there's a consistent look and feel between clinics and tax commission offices and the main complex. And we are working with health to look at the long-term planning for the J clinic and the property surrounding that. That was being prompted based on a investment on the roof, and so we're evaluating the long-term, what we're going to do with that facility, and making plans associated with that construction. We are in the middle of an HR building remodel. We're redoing the front facade to be a little bit more customer friendly and a little bit more open for access. And I just want to touch briefly on some of the emergency management stuff. I won't go into details, but from a Cherokee Nation perspective, our properties, we did have a few properties that have been affected by that. I don't have a total list of issues or loss that we might have incurred during the ice storm, but we'll start to conduct that, and I should have some information available for the next meeting. I think that's all I've got.
Karen?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. How should I proceed on the determination process for the federal building at Clemson?
Determination process as far as...
Determination, like what are we going to do with it?
I have several ideas. I'd be happy to share those with you. And then what I'd like to do is sit down with you and several of the offices that I would propose that we put out there and get that ball rolling. There's 2 or 3 things I'd like to get in there in the next year, within this year. That would be easy for them to move into.
That would be awesome. Thank you.
Okay.
Councilman Buzzard?
Yeah, Todd, when do you plan on, or when do they plan on bidding that roofing stuff out for the J clinic? Do you know?
Well, I know that they had put in a requisition for it, and we caught it, and Melissa and I were discussing that. So I don't know if they've actually bid it out or not.
And will your department be doing the landscaping, or is that going to go with their help?
This will be a project that we work with them on. So I'm not saying that we're going to do all of it, but we'll definitely be working with them.
And the other thing that in front of our complex there, it's awful dark when you come out there at night anytime. Are you looking at putting...
Yeah, we've actually been going back through and replacing a lot of the fixtures. A lot of the fixtures were just old, and so we've gone in and actually replaced the fixtures themselves, including the light bulbs, and tried to fix several of those. We've got 2 or 3 that have been cut over the past 10 or 15 years, and we're having to pull new cable to those. And so we're getting around to them in the midst of the other projects. But hopefully, I noticed it's probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I drove by, and it was about 5:40, and it was completely dark there.
Yeah, it's prepared the other night.
And it was the timers. The timers were just off just a little bit, so I went back in and corrected those. So hopefully it's quite a bit brighter than possibly when you saw it.
Oh, thank you, Tom.
But we have been fixing a lot of the fixtures on the outside.
Councilman Baker?
Yeah, Todd, several of the council people didn't make it to the employee Christmas party. And could you show them a partridge in a pear tree, please?
I cannot begin to tell you how many employees I saw over the weekend that caught me from behind at Walmart and said, "Hey, partridge in a pear tree." For those that don't know, a partridge in a pear tree looks like this. We got to sing the 12 Days of Christmas during the employee Christmas party, and the group leaders were instruments of torture during that song. And I was lucky enough to be first on stage and was identified as a partridge in a pear tree. So I got to do that 12 times.
Or 15, yeah.
Yeah, or maybe more. I think I blacked out and lost count.
I don't know how many of you had to work with Todd during this last week, but I just want to say how much I thank you and your staff for all the work, because it was met. At least I knew it was for me, and I had an opportunity to personally be taken care of, but I know Buell had to make a lot of phone calls to you, and it's greatly appreciated because it's holiday time and it's already stressful. It had been this last week. It was very interesting.
Yeah, and thank you. We're still in the midst of that. We've still got several people. As of about 6:15 this morning, there were still about 126,000 residents in the state of Oklahoma that are without power. About 100,000 of that is in the Tulsa metro and the Oklahoma City metro areas. So still quite a few out there in the rural areas that we're continuing to work on today. So still a lot of work to be done. But most of the information coming out now is that power should be completely restored to 99% of our citizens within the next 2 to 3 days. So those electrical crews have done a tremendous job in the last 3 or 4 days to get that many knocked out, because at the height we were approaching 700,000 without electricity. So they've knocked out 600,000 people in the last 3 or 4 days. So.
Councilman Hoskins.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I just want to echo what Councilor Pound Watts said. My experience was the same. Mr. Enlow, just my hat's off to you. Every need that District 9 had, you did everything you could to meet it. It's very much appreciated.
Thank you.
We trained a pal last year.
That's right. Well, several people have asked. They said, did you learn anything from the last one? I said, every time we go through this, we learn something a little bit more, and we get a little bit better prepared than we were the last time.
Thank you, Todd.
Thank you.
We have no old business. Under new business, we have a resolution for a grant application. Karen Calvin, would you?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't know if our staff would like to talk to it or speak to it or not, but we actually are pretty cutting edge in the state of Oklahoma in environmental groups. And for some time now, since 1991, the Intertribal Environmental Council has existed because of the leadership of the Cherokee Nation, and it's grown to 40 members. And those tribes are part of Region 6 for the EPA out of Dallas, which includes not only Oklahoma, but also Kansas and New Mexico.
New Mexico and Texas.
New Mexico and Texas. And so, because Alabama, Coshada are part of this group. So this particular grant is for the amount of $353,573. It requires no match. It would be to the EPA. It would be for the ITEC group to manage hazardous waste sites, including sampling and report writing for hazardous waste sites, as well as mitigation and cleanup for the community and helping with technical assistance, and then Superfund training. So I move to approve this.
Second.
Have any questions?
Yeah, Kara or Bobby, when you get these grants like this, does that take care of all 43 tribes? Is that how the grant works?
It's a grant for all 40 tribes. But the main beneficiary is the Cherokee Nation.
That's what I wanted.
That's where we gather our expertise in. So there's a good advantage to having this grant.
Good. Thank you.
Any more questions? All in favor of this motion? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. And our next scheduled meeting will be January the 14th at 4 p.m. Adjournment? Adjournment.
Second.
Right. Opposed?